maybe we'll get started. If you haven't got a handout or information about the club, it's in the back right-hand corner. There's a handout for the presentation. For those online, please mute your audio and turn off your video for the best performance that you're going to get there. Put your questions in the chat, and at the end, we'll look at the chat if there are any, and you can unmute your video and that there. The handout for those online is out on the PC Club website. So let's go here. Our format today is Eat the Subs. Hopefully everybody's got a sub there. You can get up at any time and go back and get some more chips or subs there. So do that. I want to welcome everybody. It's nice to see so many familiar faces, but we've also got some new ones, so welcome. And I want to give a big thank you to Paula up here who got the subs and set it up, so that's good there. Thank you, Paula. Our agenda today, first we'll cover some club status and quick information, and then we'll get to our main topic. Future meetings, we do a monthly question and answer that's online. The next one is May 5th. Our next general meeting is going to be how to buy a printer by myself. We'll talk about the true cost of printers, because if you bought ink cartridges, you know how expensive they can be. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about differences of lasers and inkjets, and then we'll talk about where to buy. We also have a monthly MAC-SIG, a special interest group. They meet online once a month. Their next meeting is this Friday, April 17th. These are our officers. You probably all met Jim, who was getting people in here. Linda, I don't see Linda here, is our vice president. Paul Ebert is our membership secretary. Andrew's in back there. He's our membership, or our treasurer. Chuck Scott is our recording secretary. Chuck's there. Mike Griffin leads the MAC-SIG. I don't see Mike here. Paula is a director at large. I'm Tom Kreuzer. I'm a director at large. Members old and new, you can pay your dues to Paul. Also a reminder, if you are changing your email, that's the way we keep in touch and send out notices like this. So make sure and keep your email up to date. If you do have suggestions for topics, you can email your ideas. You can talk to any of the board members. We have our annual survey. We get information from there. So let us know what you're interested in. We're also always looking for people to volunteer to present. Can be on some hardware that you use or software. Could be something at home. Could be a hobby you have. Could be just about anything. And if you don't like presenting, we have a monthly newsletter, and you're welcome to write a short, meaning a sentence or two, or a multiple-page article for our monthly eBites newsletter. Website, we have a website. We put out there our past meeting recordings and handouts. So if you've missed any of the presentations or want to revisit it, they're out there along with the handouts. We have a deals section, some discounts. The monthly newsletter is out there, and this is the link. It's also listed, you have the handout, the QR code on the bottom of the handout will get you out there also. And the QR code on here, quite a few places. Okay, our main topic today is going to be artificial intelligence. And we'll cover a number of things. We obviously can't dig really deep in there, but hopefully we'll satisfy some of your curiosities on AI there. This is a little example. I created an action figure of myself in a matter of a couple of strokes using AI. I uploaded a photo. It's actually got my clothes that I was wearing and everything there. Then you could tell it your accessories. I put a hammer in there because every good PC technician needs a hammer, a laptop, and a USB drive there. Okay, so let's get into artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, as you've probably all seen, has surged to nearly every corner of modern life over the past 3 years. It became Time's 2025 Person of the Year, and even about half of the Super Bowl ads were about AI companies or were done produced in AI. So AI is everywhere and everything. In just the past few months, AI has helped humans communicate with whales, cracked a 30-year-old unsolved math problem, accelerated lab discoveries, produced a #1 viral country hit, it's designed new drugs, and outperformed long-standing hurricane prediction models. Individuals rely on it, companies depend on it, and nations are racing to build it because the winners stand to gain trillions of dollars, billions and trillions. But AI is not without its friction. Its enormous energy demands strain global resources, jobs are shifting or disappearing, and misinformation spreads faster than ever. Public sentiment reflects the tension. A recent NBC poll found that AI to be one of the least liked things in America, with only 26% viewing it positively. It ranked even lower than ICE, which surprised me because people kind of have to hate you quite a bit to. Okay, so let's do a quick definition of what is AI. AI was first defined in 1956, so it didn't just start 3 years ago, but for most people, it made the news 3 years ago and has snowballed to many things changing in the last 3 years. It's attempting to make computers think and act based on the best data available. To have AI, it requires 3 things. You need to have a computer. And computers 10 years ago were a lot less than what we have today, and 30 years ago they were even less. But you need a computer. You need data. That data can be data that's already in a database. It can come from sensors. So if you're driving a car, a self-driving car, obviously you want real-time data from the cameras and the lanes and the speed and the weather conditions. That's all data that's collected by various sensors and things there. And the third thing that you need to have AI is algorithms. And algorithms are the code or models that consume all this data. And to consume all this data, that's where the computer has to look at all that data to figure out what the real meaning is. Today we have massive computing power on your watch, in your pocket, in your purse, that were unheard of 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, just unheard of power. We have an internet full of data, and we have complex sensors to learn from, whether it's in individual devices or for predicting the weather. We have all kinds of devices all over. We have thousands of companies that are writing the algorithms or code to put this stuff together. And as an example here for the computing power, does anyone have an Apple Mac with an M5 chip in there? Okay, there's a couple of them. That's their most powerful model there, personal model. That little tiny CPU has 30 billion transistors in there. Now, I was born in the day, back in early 60s, I got my first transistor radio, and I think that was like a 3-transistor radio. Now you've got 30 billion there. It's just incredible. Okay, let's get some other terms that you've probably seen or heard in articles or in the news or stuff like that, just to kind of level set everybody. First thing is large language model, or called an LLM. It's a neural network that is fed tons of data to spot patterns and predict what should come next in a sequence. An easy example of that is a spelling. As you're typing in and spelling, it says, oh, you typed A and you typed B and you typed C. Well, most likely the next letter or the next word that you're going to do is that. So very easy. That's very easy to do. And we've had that for 50 years, 40 years, 50 years. Another thing you have with these large language models is you have reinforcement learning when it's used to strengthen and turn it from a simple word predictor into a digital assistant. So AI's capabilities remain far from the human mind. So some people would have you believe that AI and the mechanics and everything is so much further than what the human brain is. No, it isn't. It has a ways to go. It can have more data than the average person has, but the mind and the connection and the way it puts things together, they're still working to improve that. But we've made tremendous progress in the last years. Another term to know is machine learning. That learns patterns from data rather than being explicitly programmed step by step. So an example of that is I'm building a robot, and that robot uses AI there, or AI, excuse me. And that robot, I could say if I want the robot to go from here to the wall, I want to turn on speed and go this and do this, and I could write a step-by-step instructions. Or I can just say, learn for yourself how to get to the wall. So it'd bump into things. If you've got a robot vacuum, that's the way they learn your room. They go around, they bump into things, they build a map, they know where to go and where the things are that they run into. So the machine is learning where to go, what to do, rather than somebody having to sit down and say, gee, there's a coffee table here. There's something else here. Okay, another one is deep learning. Deep learning is a branch of machine learning that figures things out by being shown lots of examples. So an example of that is I want to train it how to recognize a dog. What's a dog? I give it thousands of pictures, and it looks through those thousands of pictures, and it notices patterns. Well, there's usually fur, there's ears, there's noses, there's legs, feet, and it builds up this is what a typical dog looks like, to the point where I can give it a picture of a dog that it's never seen before, and yet it looks at it and it can say, that's a dog. So it learns, it's learning based on all this history of data. Okay, some more definitions that you've probably seen. Descriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics is what happened. It summarizes past data to clearly show what has already happened. Then it uses statistics, charts, dashboards, and reports. It's the foundation of all other analytics. We'll talk about some other terms in analytics here, because it turns raw data into an understandable picture of past performance. So an example of that might be a cancer diagnosis from a breast screening. You give it enough images, it knows what to look for, and it can look for that better than any human can, and it can look for it faster, and so it's just incredible there. Okay, the next level up on analytics is diagnostic analytics, and that is, why did it happen? It uses historical data to uncover root causes, patterns, and relationships. Then the next level up from that is predictive analytics. What might happen? It uses large amounts of past data and identifying patterns like how customers behave or how machines fail or how diseases progress. It then uses these patterns to estimate future events. Examples there, if you've ever done a web search, that's using predictive analytics. Amazon recommendations of the products that you order and what you look at and what pops up, that's predictive analytics. Voice assistants are using it all the time, and customer service chatbots are using it all the time. Okay, this is the one where we want to really get a benefit out of, and that's called prescriptive analytics. That's what should we do? So it's going to recommend the best action to take after analyzing what happened, the descriptive analytics, what happened in the past, what is likely to happen, predictive analytics, and it uses those to figure out what should we do. It uses data, simulations, optimizations, machine learning to guide decisions toward the most effective outcome. This approach is the most advanced stage of analytics because it moves beyond prediction into actionable guidance to solve questions and problems. Okay, let's continue on. So I get this question, people say, what's the difference between an internet search and an AI interaction? Because some people equate the two, and internet searches are using AI, but there are vast differences in the way AI and internet searches function. A search, especially in the older days, provides links to web pages, images and videos, and other types of content relative to your search, or the words you put in for your search. Then you're left to explore them on your own. It's pointing to this website, go out and read this article, go out here and read this, and it's just a database that pointed you towards the right website out there. That's what a basic search is doing. AI provides a conversation. It can have follow-up questions. It can remember the content. It can provide personalized responses based on the ongoing dialogue. It summarizes the content from multiple sources, or figures which is the best source there, generates creative ideas, provides writing assistant, and much more. AI can help you not only find, but also understand and utilize the information more effectively. Yes?
How does AI handle languages? Is it primarily English? How do they avoid using trademarks?
I'll do a quick answer. Languages is very easy because there's usually a translation. And so all you need is a database, and I can go from Mandarin to English to French to whatever. That's pretty easily there. There are no trademarks in the words that are in a language, so that you don't have a problem. The problem, though, like you were talking about, is, okay, it summarized the news. I'm no longer going out to that news site anymore. The company was making money by me going out to the news site and maybe seeing some ads or signing up for their subscription. Well, if AI is giving me this for free, I'm not going out to their website. That's a huge issue today, is who owns the content, and how can everybody in the chain make money there? So that's still being worked on. Okay? And if I didn't cover it, we can talk about it at the end a little more. AI for me is much faster to find an answer than a search. It's handy to be able to learn about a specific topic from one information source. So I'm not having to scroll through multiple sites that matched my search criteria. I use it both for quick answers to questions and in-depth research also. Google search traffic to news sites, as an example, over last year have dropped 38%. So more and more people, especially younger people, Older people tend to still go out to the sites and click on the sites, whereas most people will get the information that they need from the AI. If you do a Google search, the first thing that you see is the AI results, then you see the standard search results. Okay, continuing on, to become good at a task or a job, we humans, we spend our lifetime, years going to school, reading books, apprenticing, interning, to learn more and more what's out there. AI can acquire more advanced subject knowledge in seconds, and it can do it for free or at a fraction of the cost of what it would cost to have a human answer that question. AI is far from perfect today. It makes errors and sometimes spits out baffling results. Just like if you ask somebody a technical question, maybe you get the right answer, maybe you don't get the right answer. Humans aren't perfect, AI isn't perfect, but AI is getting better. Humans, for the most part, aren't getting any better, but AI, as learning, has the ability to fix itself and change results. AI does not have to be perfect for us to use it and find it useful. It just has to provide a better solution than what it's replacing. And an example of that is like a self-driving car. Some people will say, as long as self-driving cars get into accidents, we shouldn't have self-driving cars. If somebody gets killed by a self-driving car, that's a bad thing. However, how many people get killed by humans driving cars? And if you start figuring out the mileage and the effects of having an accident or how frequently it can happen, all it has to be is better than what it's replacing. And so if you're waiting for that perfect AI, it's probably never going to happen. It's just going to get better and better, but there's always things that the AI may not know. Over time, it learns from its mistakes and improves. Okay, now let's talk about what can AI do for you, or for all of us. So I've broken them down into these different categories. And the first category we'll talk about is AI is very, 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 very good at understanding information. It can see, it can hear, and it can read massive amounts of data and extract meaning. Examples of that are text, whether it's the text messages that you have, emails that you have, websites that you're going out to. It can provide a summary, it can translate it to any language under the sun, and it can consolidate information from multiple sites or multiple locations. Now you probably can't see too much, but this is Gmail, and this is an email that I was having with Jim, and we were talking about this presentation, and we had a couple of messages back and forth. Well, the first thing it shows me at the top is it shows me a summary. It shows me a summary of what each of those emails back and forth was talking about, what was decided. Also in here, if I wanted to respond, it's giving me examples of responses. So instead of it maybe taking me 5 minutes to open it up, look through the chain, see things, and then type in a response, now I can open it up and look at the summary. I can use one of the standard replies, and I can be done with that task in under a minute, where it may have taken me 5 minutes or 10 minutes before. Images and video. You have things like Google Lens. Google Lens, I use it all the time. Point the camera at anything there. It'll identify the object, or if it's people, or if I'm buying something, it'll show me where it's on sale. It'll do all of these things there. If you have a home camera, you have a ton of this images and video understanding taking place to tell, is this a person? Is this a dog? Is there motion? What triggered it? TSA screening. You've gone through the airport, there's cameras there. It is scanning. The Ring Find Pet. If you saw the Super Bowl ad, I think Ring was promoting that, and that gave the chills to a number of people, not necessarily understanding that, if you start networking these things together, and it knows that if you tell it that your pet is lost, it can look at some of these other cameras and it can say, oh, your pet is 2 doors down in the neighbor's backyard. That's good. We have to be careful because there should be some guardrails and some things like that, but that can be a very nice thing. Car license plate tracking is another surveillance type of thing, good and bad. You can upload a photo and ask it to redesign a room after telling it your current problems or wants. So this is an example here. This is Google Lens down here in the middle. I can point it at a flower. It'll tell me exactly what it is. It'll tell me how much water I should be giving it. You can get all that information. Whereas, again, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, to do the same thing, you would have had to go to multiple websites, maybe read a whole bunch of documents, and then maybe not even knowing what it is. Now you can know instantly what it is. This other example here, you upload a blank image of your room that you're looking to redesign, and IKEA has a function like this, and there's a bunch of sites that have functions like this, where you can tell it, this is the furniture that I want, where should I put it, what color should it be, what do the walls look like if I paint it. So you can do all of these options literally instantaneously. Audio chat. And the beauty of that is I can chat with the computer. Before, we needed a keyboard. We needed a display. We needed these things to interact with it. Now you don't need it. You can use your natural language, your voice. It can talk back to you in its natural language. Eventually, we're going to get rid of keyboards, believe it or not. Keyboards are going to be gone, and you're going to be able to do everything you want by talking to the computer. And the computer can also do translations and transcriptions. You have Zoom. Our meeting is put on Zoom. You can also do meeting minutes off of it. It'll do the summary. It'll do the action items. It'll tell you who attended. You no longer have to have somebody sit down and transcribe stuff. Another one is Google Maps. Just in March, Google came out with an update to Google Maps. And that is very powerful. So you could always tell it, gee, I want to get to 3M. How should I get to 3M? That's, what's the best route? And it would tell you. But now you can get more complicated. Is there a public tennis court with lights on it that I can play tonight? Where can I charge my phone without having to wait in a long line for coffee? So it's just, the door is just opening up to endless possibilities. Okay, another category that AI can do for you is it can generate new content. That's called generative AI. It's faster and more accessible to anyone. So if you've ever taken a picture on your phone, most of the phones have an editor. You can remove people. You can change the background. A ton of things just to improve your photographs. If you're writing a document, the writing tools can pop up similar to the emails there, whether you're in a document, an email, a text message, or a website. It can make suggestions. It can summarize content. It can brainstorm. It can convert formats. It can dive deeper into click on anything and say, I don't understand this. Tell me about it. And it'll tell you. It can write training manuals, marketing, trend reports in minutes that might have taken humans days to write. And this is an example here. If you're in, you probably can't see it too well there, but if you're in Pages on an iPhone or on a Mac there, and you're writing, you have all these options. Take everything that I've written and make it friendlier. Make it more concise. Expand on it a little bit. You can do that. You can change the tone. You can do all these different things with a touch of a button there. Images and artwork can be created in seconds. You can create or edit new photos in seconds that took hours to do using things like Adobe Photoshop and stuff like that. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know any of that. This is an example here. This is my dad. They were going to write an article about him for the senior living facility he's in, and I wanted a nice picture. And so this is a nice picture of him. But obviously I'd have to do some work to remove some stuff and stuff like that. But I had just read an article that said, you can do anything with AI. And it showed an example. And that example said, you can tell the AI, so I upload that photo of him. I tell the AI, produce a formal portrait depicting the subject in a dark navy suit. Use dramatic lighting, background to charcoal. Capture the image in a premium editorial style with crisp focus and cinematic depth of field as if shot with an 85 millimeter lens. Ensure extremely high detail consistent with a polished corporate portrait and luxury brand. And in under, again, seconds, I had that. And if you didn't like it, because if you want a red tie instead of a blue tie, if you want a different colored suit, you can change it to anything. And it turned his head, and I showed this to my dad a couple of days ago, and he goes, I don't really like that. And I said, we only have so much to deal with there. And I said, believe me, this is much better than what you really look like. But you can do that in seconds. And you can use any of the packages. So if you're familiar with Copilot, if you're familiar with Gemini, if you're familiar with Gronk, any of the AIs will let you upload files. And you can tell it to then manipulate it this way. And in the background, it's using these different AI models, these algorithms and that. Most of them are using Nana Banana. Nana Banana is an AI for image, and it doesn't tell you that, but that's what's happening in the background. But yeah, tremendous, done in a matter of seconds there. Music and voice. So the number one, I think it's no longer number one, but it was for like a month there. Country Song was one created by AI. Wasn't a human, wasn't created in a studio, wasn't any artists at all playing on it. It was entirely done by just telling it what they wanted, and if you wanted to tweak it after that, that's that conversation. Well, change this, do that. And you end up with a number one country song. Let's go here. Walk the Walk. Walk My Walk.
Been beat down,
Breaking Rust.
but I don't stay low. Got mud on my jeans. I don't like how I talk. I'm gonna keep on talking and walking. Live my way, ain't nobody gonna.
Now you'll notice they don't have a video of the country singer, because there isn't somebody. Now you could generate somebody and you could put them in there, but this is the AI's voice, and if you've never done it, excuse me, online, I don't think I shared it, but you can go out and see it either in the handout and the link in the handout there. But let's do this. Let me do this. Get back here. Let me hide. No, let's get back here. Videos and animation. So it's replacing graphic artists and actors, because the voice, if in this particular case, if you haven't done this before, go out there and create something. If you want to have Tom Cruise wish your brother or sister a happy birthday, Just tell the AI, this is what I want, this is what I want it to say, in this voice, and it'll do it. If you want to use your own voice or mimic somebody else's, like if I wanted to mimic, what's going on here? No, it didn't like something there. Oh, I think we lost our connection, but now we're back. Excuse me here. So that's really got Hollywood scared, because if I'm an actor, if somebody can do this, literally just from, they can be laying down on their couch creating whatever. They don't need a studio. They don't need sound equipment. They don't need all of this. And you can change the accents and verbiage. And yes, Ken.
Will this take away copyrights then if I can just go out there and create music? Who's the copyright on that?
That's the interesting question, because does the original AI company that generated it own it? Who owns it? Well, at this particular point, the person who created it owns it, but I could go out there and make a kind of a knockoff of it, and then it'd be up to the courts to determine, well, did I knock off the other one, or whose was first? Just like with songs today, you know, who owns it, who did it, what is it? But yeah, it's I don't have the answers to everything because legally the guardrails and who owns what content. If AI is telling you a news story, should the AI engine that you're using, be paying a fee to the original reporters or that? Well, nowadays there aren't any reporters. If you're familiar with like the Minneapolis paper and the St. Paul paper, their staff is 100th of what it used to be. You don't have people there. They have mechanisms that grab this stuff off of the line and reformat it, put it in a segment that they want, and do it all using existing technology there. Yes.
When you did that with your father's picture, were you in a site? Were you in an app? I mean, how?
At the end, if we have time, I can show you. I just brought up Copilot, and you can go to Copilot if you have Windows. You have an icon for Copilot. If you want to use Gemini, Gemini is Google. You'll see Gemini all over the place on Google there, or just search for Gemini, and it'll take you out to the Gemini website. Once you get out there, the sky's the limit on what you can do. You can do all these things from one AI. Now, which AI is best? Each one's loaded with different data, has slightly different capabilities and stuff like that. So one may work for you, and try another one if you have a problem or want something else. Okay? We'll continue on. So a third category that it can do for you is it can solve problems and it can reason. It can break down complex tasks. It can help you make financial decisions and explain options at a high level. But I mention here, don't share private data. So don't give it your bank account and say, go ahead, invest for me. No, you don't want to do that. Because everything that you talk to these public AI engines is public, so you don't want your information out there. It can analyze patterns. It can recommend similar items and tailor consumer experiences. You could ask it, what can I make from these leftovers? Or if you have a smart refrigerator, I've got this refrigerator full of ingredients. What can I make out of that? And it'll tell you all the different options that you have. It can make predictions like storms, tornadoes, hurricanes. Now I mention here, you probably can't see too well, there's people have an NCAA bracket, the men's basketball bracket. Well, I'm in a family tournament, and also at CBS, you can do it against the whole nation. But just for fun this year, for the family bracket, I had AI predict the men's basketball tournament. And so, some people would think, you have these massive computing, you have all this data, it should be able to do a good job. Well, out of 13 people in the family pool, I ended up 8. So about in the middle.
Come along with, ask it what words to bet on.
You can ask it, originally they were limiting some of that stuff. Now they've opened it up. You can ask it to pick stocks. I wouldn't let it pick stocks because frankly, it's not good at picking stocks. Depending on when the data was loaded in, you may have data that is days, weeks, months old. So you have that. But people have always had this misconception that something coming out of the computer must be correct. Well, no, it's what we call garbage in, garbage out. You have bad data, or if you really don't know, like in the NCAA tournament, you're going to have upsets. A lot of the games are within a basket or two. That's a toss-up. If you're not familiar with the NCAA bracket, the odds of picking all 32 games correctly, which team's going to win, is 1 in a trillion. So AI is not going to get all those games right. In fact, TurboTax used to give out $1 million if you could pick the 32 winners there. And they never paid out. In the history that they've had it, they've never had to pay out. It is great at support decision making. So if you want to put together a trip itinerary, you can ask it, it'll put something together. Beauty and style advice. Upload a selfie of yourself. And then ask it what lipstick suits your skin tone. What haircut is best for you. How to accessorize an outfit. Or how you will age as you get older. You can ask it all of these things and it'll come back. Now, was a programmer here at 3M. It can write and debug code faster and more accessible than anyone. It can generate code, fix bugs, review logic, and suggest improvements. It can accelerate science and research. 3M's got a lot of labs, a lot of research in that. It can help with all that. It can analyze data. It can generate hypotheses. It can design experiments. It can discover new drugs. Another category, it can boost productivity in business. AI on average saves the average worker 40 to 60 minutes per day. Doesn't sound like a lot, except if you start multiplying that by the number of employees, the number of days. So if your employees are using AI tools, your company is a lot better off than people or companies that aren't using the tools. It can automate routine tasks. As an example, Google just came out with healthcare software products for scheduling doctor appointments, figuring out, a lot of people, you have the upfront receptionist, let me look in the calendar and we'll find you something. Well, you don't have to have a person do that. The computer can look for the openings and can talk to you and figure out what works for your calendar and what works for the doctor. So it can do that. Clinical documentation, patient intake, care planning, work planning, customized meal plans, staffing, epidemic forecasting, and medical coding. Doctors can now spend less time on paperwork and more time serving patients face-to-face. Can also help draft questions. So personally, before you go into the doctor, if you have any questions or that, use an AI because it can translate medical jargon. You can organize your symptoms into a timeline so that when you walk in, you're better prepared when you talk to your doctor. It can improve customer service. Almost all customer service of large companies have converted over to chatbots or voice assistants because it saves money. It's available 7x24, so you no longer get that, oh, sorry, our hours are only between 8 a.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Eastern time there. Available 24 hours a day. Burger King is using AI to train their new employees and also to evaluate the employees taking and fulfilling orders. So it listens to them on the mic talking with the customer or up at the front counter, and it can make suggestions on this employee maybe should have asked them about ordering a large fry or ordering something else. It can make suggestions there. It can analyze trends and streamline operations. Okay, another category is interacting with the physical world, and that's robots that we have and the Internet of Things, smart home devices and that. It can navigate environments, manipulate objects, perform repetitive or dangerous tasks. Chances are all of you have smart devices in your home, whether they're cameras or lights or garage door openers or refrigerators or your furnace and air conditioning. We have smart devices everywhere: lights, thermostats, cars, watches, smart glasses. Okay, so those are the major categories. And again, life isn't perfect. There are open issues. One of them is privacy. Local versus online AI. So if you're conversing with an AI that's up on the internet, that's kind of public data. Everything up there is public. Who can see your data? Who owns the data for your model? And what are your employer policies? So 3M doesn't want you working on here in the lab, uploading your information to the public. They want to control that so that it doesn't get out in the public. So all of these issues, companies have to make decisions on how to handle, what models to use, and what their policies are. You may have heard of this. Back in 2024, a 16-year-old died by suicide after conversing with a chatbot. And currently at the Minnesota legislature, they're considering a ban on AI chatbots for minors. And again, I'm all in favor of some kind of guardrails. The trouble is when you've got, and I put all politicians in this, when you've got idiots making decisions, you're going to have idiots. You know, when they say, oh, your chatbot for minors, how do you tell that somebody's a minor? Raise your hand and say that you're 16 years old or you're 18 years old. No, it doesn't work. Oh, okay, we'll force them to put in a credit card number. Well, could they get a credit card number from somewhere else? So you have to be realistic about a lot of these things. One MIT study found 95% of the companies have zero return on their investment in integrating AI. People and companies have spent billions of dollars. Most of them aren't getting feedback or aren't getting the payback of what they want. These AI can make you more productive, but if a person doesn't know how to use it or uses it wrongly, it can cost you more money. Beijing, China, aims for AI to be used in 90% of China's economy by 2030. So you may have heard when AI first came out, there were people standing up, and some of Sam Altman and some of the others were saying, well, maybe we should put a pause on this for a few years. If you want to slit your throat and kill yourself, you might as well get it over with quick, because if you're going to let other countries and other companies take over, you have no control over what they're doing, and they're going to leapfrog in front of you and reap the benefits there. Large AI models already know thousands of times as much as any one person can know. They are not as creative as Shakespeare, but they're more creative than the average person and getting better every day. Most experts believe that within the next 20 years, AI will become much smarter than humans in almost everything. AI hallucinates or comes up with bad decisions, inaccurate information, but it's less today than it was 3 years ago, but it still has wrong facts. Whenever you see information or you see a photograph or you see a video and it's purported to be some famous person selling a product, you have to ask yourself, is this a deep fake? Is it real? And you know, we all have to verify the results. Humans aren't perfect, and neither is an AI. Okay, what a ride it'll be from going forward. Using AI will make you much more employable and improve your life. You can start with the free AI. So I mentioned Copilot and Gemini, and all these different ones have free versions that you can use. But if you really want to gain an edge, you can upgrade to some of the paid versions. The paid versions will let you convert more photographs, create higher quality video, do it faster than waiting for some of the results there. And as an example, Copilot, well, if you buy Microsoft Office 365, you get access to some of the more advanced features of Copilot. Some of the AIs will have a monthly fee. They can start at $20 a month. They can go up to $200 a month. If you're a photographer and really want to do you have thousands of photos and you want to really clean it up and do things, it's going to cost you credits or tokens, and you best subscribe to an AI that meets your needs. Okay, what should you do today? Well, ask it to do something for you that you didn't think it can do, or ask it for an answer that you think is too complicated to solve. You will be amazed and shocked, because it will solve it, and it will come up with an answer. You can even ask it, what can it do for you? And you can converse with it. Gee, I have this as a hobby. How can it help me? If I'm in genealogy, how can it help me with genealogy? Well, it can transcribe stuff from other languages. It can, if I'm doing an interview with a family, older family member, and I want to document it, I don't have to sit there and write it down. I can just record it, upload it, and get a transcription, summarize it, and in a matter of minutes, what might have taken days or weeks or months to put together, you can do almost as fast as you can think about it.
If you ask it to do something that you know it probably can't do, like giving you a new prime number, will it tell you no?
Each one has guardrails around it and stuff like that. So there are certain things that are off limits for it to do, or if you try and trick it, in most cases it knows that this is a trick and won't do it there. But certainly you can try it and see there. So if you have any fascinations or hobbies, by all means use it, even for work or things like that. I had a list of another document, and I had been documenting some stuff over the last few years, and I wanted to change the order that these things were to be in a reverse order. And it wasn't in a spreadsheet, it didn't have a date column, but I wanted it in a reverse order. And I thought, hey, AI. All I did is copy and paste, so I didn't even have to save it to a file, copy and paste it into Copilot, free version of Copilot. I said reverse the order of the paragraphs. Under a second it comes back and they're all reversed. Now I could have sat there and copied and moved and manually moved the things in that and maybe done it in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but this did it immediately. Are there topics that have sent you down rabbit holes? Well, this is a rabbit hole helper. You'll be able to dig a lot deeper if you want, but you can find out information on anything. What have you always wanted to learn but never had time? Chatting with an AI can help you, so you can learn more there. Make sure that your requests, and this is very, very important, if you come away with one thing and you're going to use an AI, you want to make sure that your requests have 3 things in there: clarity, context, and specificity. The better you are at that, the better your results from the AI are going to be. So the example of the photo, telling it exactly what the tie should look like, exactly what the background should look like, exactly what the suit should look like, and the lighting and that. the more clarity that you give it, the better the output's going to be. And the last thing, that GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. If you give it a screwy question, don't be surprised if you get a screwy answer back. Okay, questions or comments? That concludes the formal part there. Let me do this. And I don't see anything in the chat. Any questions?
I just want to say that I can't believe people ask AI for medical advice. I would never do that. I would not. I would advise him asking for medical advice.
Yeah, the comment was made, I would never ask for medical advice. It's a double-edged sword, and in general, they'll say, don't ask for medical advice. However, if you're going to talk to your doctor, it can certainly help with that. When you ask for medical advice, and I have asked for medical advice, the better AIs will list the references where they got the information. So if the information came from the Mayo website, that's different than coming from National Enquirer or that, drink whatever and cure cancer there. No, but if it came from a Mayo website, I'm more prone to believe it there. But you do have to be, like you say, cautious with all of this stuff, and whether you're investing or health or anything there, you probably want to verify, check the source that it came from. So when it comes up with an answer, you can ask it. You can say, where did you get your information? Because if you'll recall, one of the first things with AI is AI suggested putting rocks on pizza. And then the way they got that, the way some news reporter got that, is the way that he phrased the question, and then he got the answer. But, that's where garbage in, garbage out. Yes, Ken?
Yes, I am a task force member of illness in our church, and I was given a task of doing a PowerPoint presentation for suicide. And so I thought, AI scares me, but it's here, it's not going to go away, so I'm going to try to do this. And just before I decided to start it, I thought, wait a second, I better not just say, hey, I need information on suicide, or I have a bunch of people knocking at my door, 911 and all that. But I mean, it was like, somehow I had heard something, maybe you had said it, Tom, about making it very specific about this is for a educational at my church, and and I was amazed in less than seconds. This stuff all came up, and most of it came from like the CDC or NAMI, and I mean it was a lot of statistics that we're taking you for everything.
Yeah, depending on where the data comes from, and that's where you're somewhat dependent on the AI or the algorithm that you're using and the data that it's using. I know people that, let's say you're a programmer like myself. Well, as a programmer, I can essentially take a book on a particular programming language, and I can upload it, well, not upload it, I can load it into my AI locally on my machine. And when I ask a question, that's the universe that it knows. It just knows that book. So if you trust that book and what it's doing, all of your queries, all of your questions on what to do and stuff like that are going to be as if that's the book that it had read. And if you want to add another book or another source, but that's where you kind of control what you load into the model, because if you put bad data into the model or confusing data or things like that, you're going to get confusing data and confusing information out the back end. We'll first take, yep.
I was talking to a teacher the other day, and the teacher said, I asked the students to write a thesis or a theme on something. How do they tell that what they're getting back is coming from AI and not from the original thought of the student himself?
Good question. The question was, how can teachers, or for that matter, if you're getting a paper of that, and actually I'll have a lively discussion in a couple of hours because I give this same presentation at my dad's senior living facility, and a large number of nuns there are college teachers, and we've had discussions on things like this before with that. And my response to that is, as a teacher, if you have access to these tools, should your teaching include the tools or not include the tools? So what are you trying to teach the student? If you're trying to teach the student, I want you to go down to the library and, doggone it, there's a card catalog over there. Look in the card catalog, pull out a book, get some quotes, put that down in your paper. Why are you teaching somebody a skill that I can do in a second with a query? We should be teaching kids how to use these tools. We should be leveraging all of this stuff. But you know, your question about how can a teacher tell us something? There's actually AI. I can take that document that the student put in, and I can say, how likely is it that this was written by an AI? And it'll tell me how likely it is that it was written by an AI. And if I load in there some more context, these are the previous essays and documents that this student has turned in. Let's compare those to this most current one. And it can tell in a fraction of a second, he didn't write it, he got it from so-and-so. And these are the sources of where he probably got the information from. So, you know, again, I'm all for teaching kids, but let's teach kids the things that are important. When I went to school, we didn't have the calculators, and we had slide rules. Well, God forbid if you weren't going to let a kid, when a calculator came along, a programmable calculator, not use that. That's stupid. And that's the way AI is. We should, as a society, leverage these things as much as we can and teach the kids in school the skills to you know, the best skills that they can get. But if they no longer have to do research to pull up a paper on a butterfly in the Amazon, what effect does it have on the weather in North America? I can get that in one query. I don't have to have somebody go to the library. I don't have to have somebody put down all this stuff and waste it. I started out with manual typewriters. What were you doing when you had an error? Oh, you had to use whiteout or you had to go back. That wasn't helping my education. Again, you wouldn't say to somebody, let's not use a computer to write, let's not use a spell checker, let's not use some of these others. All these tools are valuable and can make us more productive, and that's what we should be teaching. Just a minute, Ken. So we'll go over. Yep.
Have you seen like advertising and influencing how Google ads, like searches are done by the advertisers? That advertisers, I've seen the ad searches.
Ads have always been, and what's that?
Repeat for the people.
Oh, the question was, have you seen advertisers leveraging information and stuff like that? That's always been the case. Even back in the 60s, if you remember, you were filling out a warranty card and they asked you a series of questions, and that was to target you and to figure out what you have. Now, there's so much more information. If you go out to Amazon, you lingered on this product, or you looked at this, or you were in Facebook and you spent 10 seconds just looking at this. It keeps track of every millisecond where you stop, what you click on, and what you do. Now, is that a bad thing? I'd prefer not to have that, but for the advantage of getting a lot of stuff for free, I'm not paying for a lot of these services, and there's going to be an ad. Would I rather have an ad that's targeted at my needs or that, or would I rather have a Viagra ad pop up all the time? No, I'd rather have a targeted ad. No. So the question was, if you use Copilot or any AI, are you just going to get it from their advertisers? As an example, and I like to use this example, Apple, we've all heard of Apple. Apple gets a check every year from Google. Google pays them $90 billion a year for Apple to use Google search. Google takes that search information and sells it to advertisers and everything else. That's why we have all these different services. That's why we have this stuff. So every company is buying and selling information. The state of Minnesota sells your driver's license information. When you fill out your driver's license, they sell it to third parties, and that. So it's information is out there. Certainly, you want to minimize what you have, but whether you use Copilot or you use Gemini, or these companies are learning from all of your searches. They're learning from what you put in and what you look at, and things like that, and then prioritizing some of the results, validating the results, and doing other functions there. Okay? Okay? Another question? Or if you have to go, don't feel... did you want to tell them about the sandwiches or that?
I would say take an extra sandwich and some cookies and take the chips. Go ahead.
Yeah, take chips, a sandwich, anything if you want there. Thanks for coming. Hope you liked it there. Okay.
I just want to go back to your teacher.
Yeah.
Thing, and that is, I agree with you. Yes. Use the tools that we have today. But are we also creating people who are not learning how to think, problem solve?
Yes, and I would say these tools are, if somebody has taken the initiative to learn how to use the tool, they're further ahead than the people that are playing games on their phone 7 by 24. So I'm not worried about the person who has taken the initiative to write a paper to make it easier and things like that. My major comment on the education would be, this is something that should be evaluated yearly, because we're making all these strides and all these things are changing, such that the classes that we teach, the way that we teach, I can put an AI and I can customize it for a class, and then the student can go at their own pace. We all know that you stick 30, 40 kids in a room, this kid is way in front of this other kid, and it's boring to the one kid and it's too much for the other because they're not getting enough detail. An AI, and that's why these chatbots are great, you sit down and ask the chatbot, how can I learn algebra? This is what I'm working on. Explain it to me. And it'll sit down there. It has the patience, because again, where is the AI going to go? It's going to be there. So any dumb question, it'll answer and get all the detail, get all the information, utilize it there. But the last thing that you want is if your classes are set up such that you're just looking for a result, it's kind of like the math problem. Here's a math problem. You just put down the answer. No, it's how did you get to that answer? What thought process did you use? And maybe in the future, instead of we say, what thought process did you use? What AI tool did you use? What was your question? Did you formulate your question correctly? When you got an answer, so I'm trying to figure out, I've got a triangle and I know the value of two sides. What's the third? What's the third side there? Well, yeah, it's a number, but how did you come up with that, or what was used there? And these tools can help, and it's a valuable tool, and it should be integrated in with the entire learning process there. Okay. Any final question, or yeah?
The last time I went to the doctor to have a physical, the doctor said, "Is it okay if I record our interactions?" And the end, I looked on the website for the service that I use, and there was a summary of what was said, and broken down, take the whole conversation, break it down into a few sentences. So I'm sure that she used the AI.
Yeah, yeah, there's AIs, the Zoom call that I have on here and stuff like that. You can use this has AI components where it'll do the minutes, and the minutes will give you a summary right up at the top. You can click to any link and it'll take you down to the detail there. It'll have all the action items, who they're assigned to, and stuff like that. It can even do follow-ups. So if a person doesn't mark that as being done, it can follow up with that person. So you have all these capabilities. Now, you'll have, it's interesting that you bring up the health because there's been some debate there of do we want this, where do we want this information going? Because if this recording that you have is going somewhere, is it leaving the country? Who has access to it? And so do they have access to, gee, you just came down with cancer. I hope I didn't spring that on you. But you just came down with cancer, and suddenly you're going to get bombarded with cancer research projects or things like that. That's where the guardrails on some of this stuff have to be done. But the advantage of not having to pay for that and do it. One final point, like with the transcriptions, if you're not familiar, for I believe it's $49, I can buy a ring. I can buy a ring that I put on my finger, or it's a little necklace that you wear around, and it's a microphone. Its sole function is a microphone. That microphone connects to your phone connects to the internet. 7 by 24, it's listening to every conversation that you have. Every day it puts out a summary. This is what Ken did today. Bang, 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 bang. These are the action items for Ken. Bang, 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 bang. Some people like that, some people don't. Another example of that, you probably recall Copilot. So Microsoft Copilot, one of the features of Windows 11 when they were first talking about it years ago was the integration with Copilot. And one of the functions in Copilot, it was every 15 seconds, it would take a screenshot of what I had on my computer. It would then analyze it, and then it would build a giant database of everything that I did on the computer, and I could search it at any time and say, well, last week I was looking for a new hedge trimmer. Could you tell me what it was and where I was looking? And it'll tell you where you were and what you were doing. And Microsoft was touting this as the best thing since sliced bread. But obviously a lot of people were saying, wait a minute, I don't want something looking at what I'm doing and recording that. And if it's recorded, could a hacker or somebody else get access to that data? So again, there has to be those guardrails. There has to be these ways of moving forward. But I don't want to see these capabilities disappear. I just want them used correctly and some guardrails on there. Okay. Okay, well, thanks for coming, and hope you got something out of it. Thanks, everybody online.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
You're welcome.
Does AI ever get angry at you and punish you?
You can. Yeah, you can change the way that it works.